designers. This is Govin here, Secrets of Longevity.com. I've been talking a lot about critical thinking skills and some of the fallacious ways that people get sort of mired in bad reasoning, but also how we can build this and create better thinking skills that allow us to have a more persuasive argument for any topic. And one thing I wanted to talk about today was a specific fallacy, which is called in some circles as the appeal to nature or natural law fallacy. And what I want to do is offer a broader perspective on this, because something in the description I've seen, which I'll link to below, it's one of the big charts out there talking about logical fallacies. You see me talk about another one, which I'll also link below. It's going to be the second link, and that's a bigger and I think more detailed description of some of these fallacies, but the top one is one that I see posted around a lot more and people reference that. So I wanted to talk about the one thing on there, the appeal to nature, because it's actually not entirely wrong to do that, and I'm going to make my case in this video. So yes, you don't want to have the basis of your argument as, well, this herb is natural, therefore it is going to be more correct and healthier for you than every single drug under the sun. That's simply not the case, and that's not clear thinking. But where having a bias towards natural things comes in handy is a starting point. So what do I mean by this? Well, if you were to take, for example, just the human history of diet, if we understand what's natural for what we did in the past, we can then start to look at the evidence from that point, and then we make our conclusions with that supporting it and behind it. So most people who come from it from this point of view would agree that we wouldn't want to engage in any dietary experiments until we're absolutely certain it's very healthy for us. So if we're eating, say, in a Paleolithic or way that an indigenous culture was eating, we can have a generalized understanding that what we're doing is healthy, and then we make any changes based on the research that sort of delineates from that. So we might choose to exclude one particular food that happened to have been eaten by our ancestors, but now with the science that's really come down and made something clear, we can just see that that just was an anomaly within that. So what I'm advocating is using a natural fallacy almost as like the basis point, and it's the research that then changes it. So the burden of proof is on the research, and that doesn't mean we don't look for evidence to support what it is we are already doing. But to put that argument in another context, we could say, okay, well, the research is still out on various drugs. We could even use the vaccine argument. There's not a concurrent enough opinion on vaccines, whether they're healthy or not. So until there's absolute certain and concurrent understanding of whether vaccines are healthy or not, we're not going to take them because there's no conclusive evidence yet. Now, people obviously who believe in vaccines are going to disagree with me on that. I'm just using it as an example. Same could be said with GMOs. The burden of proof is on the research to show us that it is healthy long term, so we don't subject ourselves to global or even large population experiments that are going to happen over a generation or two, just because very short-term studies have shown in some cases that GMOs are healthy, or at least the ones funded by the genetic modification corporations. So yes, the natural fallacy in and of itself is not conclusive and evidence for anything. I'm not trying to say use that as a way of advocating anyone take something or not take something. I'm saying use that as your starting point, and then allow the evidence for something be strong and convincing enough before you start to take that on as a new lifestyle measure or any other thing. So if there was some cutting edge exercise routine being promoted, and we've been exercising in a more fluid, natural, ancient way, something that has a tradition of being an exercise form that humans have done for a long time, we wouldn't integrate that new exercise until we have sufficient proof. And just because there's sufficient proof of it doesn't mean it's better than what we've already been doing. So it's more of a place that we're moving out of, and we can integrate and change our lifestyles accordingly, and we base it on stuff that has centuries, if not millennia, in terms of the traditions behind it. So once again, Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, all these things, they have natural proof behind them. And that doesn't automatically make it better than modern medicine in every regard, but it's a starting point, and modern medicine is the one that has to have overwhelming burden of evidence for each aspect it's challenging against Ayurveda and these more traditional views of medicine. Of course, we understand that modern medicine's approach to a lot of health issues is more of a band-aid approach and doesn't deal with the deeper root cause, and that's why I'm saying this natural medicine has already been established as what's healthy. And yes, there's going to be aspects of it that can be challenged, but it needs to be done through solid research, and the research doesn't really focus on the individual aspects of it. It focuses on saying, this drug does this, therefore we don't need this thing that stabilizes your lifestyle and deals with the issue in a different way. We're just going to take this and correct this tiny component of your biology, like a beta blocker or other thing, as opposed to looking at the deeper cause. So let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. Like, favorite, and share the video if you feel so inclined. And with that, I'll talk to you next time. Take care and embrace life without limits.